What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. This is the channel where we sit down and cover different comic book stories from different comic book companies. Today, we're going to jump back over to Marvel Comics and continue our coverage over the X-Men reading order because you guys have been loving that X-Men content. And so I said, why not do the Iceman 2001 miniseries? A 4-part miniseries that teased the idea that Iceman could be a father, that he might have a son. Honestly, this story is very weird and strange, and you'll see what I mean as we go through it. But if you do enjoy today's comic book video, hit that like button down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, let me know in the comments below. You never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But here we go, Iceman 2001 4-part miniseries. Let's go. So in the opening pages of Iceman #1, you do see Bobby Drake going to Hong Kong. Right off the bat, we do learn that he did not tell any of the other X-Men that he was going to go to Hong Kong. So right now you have Hank McCoy trying to call up Bobby because he didn't tell anyone where he was going. Now, we don't really learn why he is here for, why he is in Hong Kong. We just see him going to Hong Kong, and it does look like a normal trip. Except this is the moment when Iceman is attacked by some random people. Now, these guys, they're not trying to capture Iceman, nor are they trying to actually defeat Iceman. In reality, they're just attacking him to hopefully get a sample of his powers. What I mean by that is, as we're going through this fight, you actually see Iceman trying to defend himself and also trying to protect other people who are being caught in the crossfire. But while he is fighting against these guys with flamethrowers and other equipment, that is when he is also attacked by some random creatures that are known as Augmen. Now, we're going to learn more about the Augmen as we go through this storyline. But as they're fighting going on, out of nowhere, the fighting just stops. Every single one of them who was attacking Iceman, they go their separate ways, because we come to find out they were able to get a sample of one of his ice that had melted, and they're going to use that for their own experiment. And you'll see what I mean as we go through this storyline. Now, this is the moment we actually learn why Bobby Drake actually came here to Hong Kong, because he received an email that told him, hey, you have a son. Your ex-girlfriend Opal gave birth to a boy, a young boy with blonde hair. This boy is your child, but this boy has some rare genetic disease, and you are the only person who can actually help this child get better. And so that is why he is in Hong Kong. Now, Opal, the ex-girlfriend of Iceman, she first appeared back in the X Factor days, when it was Cyclops, Jean Grey, Beast, Iceman, and Angel back in the 1980s. But anyways, that is why he is here in Hong Kong for, because somebody, not Opal, sent an email to Bobby Drake to say, hey, you have a child, and that child is slowly dying, and you can be the only thing to actually help this child out. But we quickly find out who sent that email. It was one of the doctors that work at the corporation that is helping Bobby Drake's son out. And that corporation name is Winterbrand. I hate the name because honestly, I feel like they only named it Winterbrand because this is an Iceman book, but I'm going to move on. But the main person in charge of Winterbrand is a guy known as Alan Wiz. He was the one who sent that email because he knew that Iceman would be the one to actually help cure the child's rare genetic disease. But because Iceman is a mutant, their goal is to use his mutant gene as a way to find a cure that could actually help him get better. But here's the catch. It won't be just a quick fix. Bobby Drake is gonna have to stay here for at least like a year, because they have to run different kinds of experiments to basically help this child out. And so Bobby Drake will have to quit the X-Men, stay with Opal, go through all these different tests to hopefully find a way to find a cure for his son that he never knew about. But we see him go back to Opal's place. And because he needs some time to think about that, you just found out that you have a son. You're now being told your son has some rare genetic disease. And on top of that, you're the only cure or the only way to find a cure for your son. But you have to leave the X-Men, the family you had since you were a young boy, leave them all behind to hopefully save a son that you never knew of. And so it's a lot to take in. And so he needs some time to think about that. He does call up Hank McCoy, hopefully to get some answers on Winterbrand. But right when he calls Hank McCoy, and right when Hank McCoy is about to give him some information about Winterbrand, the communication is cut off. Just like that. And the reason why is because he does get attacked by some more Augmen. Now, this is not the moment we learn what these Augmen are. All we know is that they're able to go toe-to-toe with Iceman at the moment. And of course, it leads into the next battle scene. But it does lead into a battle, and this battle does go on for a few pages. But right when it seems that Bobby Drake is able to go toe-to-toe with these Augmen and hopefully defeat them, because now more innocent people could be affected, well, one of the Augmen was able to hit Iceman with something. And with that Augmen actually doing that, well, his powers begin to go crazy. He is unable to control his powers to the point that he has to let go everything he's holding inside, and he released a huge amount of power. But it let him be able to get away from the Augmen. At the last page of this chapter, we come to find out that Dr. Wiz and Opal are working together, and they're the ones that control the Augmen. But we still have no idea what these Augmen are. Why is Opal and Dr. Wiz working together, and what is their end goal for Iceman? Except for right now, he's able to get away. And so in the opening pages of Iceman #2, we do pick up with the old man known as Chen Si. I hope I pronounced that correctly. But Chen Si is this old man who is living in this town. Now this town is kind of run down. It used to be a great place, but over time it has fallen apart. And this is an old man just trying to live a regular day life. But that is when the town is halfway frozen over. Because remember, in the last chapter, Iceman powers just began to go crazy, and he had to release a huge amount of his powers. Now, to these people in this town, they think it's a demon. Some kind of demon has attacked their city. Except for Chen Si, he's like, no, this is not a demon. This is something else. Let me go and investigate to find out what in the world is happening in this old, broken down town. Now, with Chen Si getting to the source of the problem, which is Bobby Drake, he finds out three things. One, the source of the problem is Bobby Drake. Two, Bobby Drake is unconscious. And three, Bobby Drake's powers are going out of control, and they begin to attack Chen Si. Now, this is the moment where the story kind of goes a little bonkers, because with Iceman powers going crazy and Ashley attacking Chen Si, this old man, Chen Si, turns into some kind of ninja warrior. Now, we will learn why that happened, and we'll learn about his past later on, but for this section, it's just some old man who turns into some kind of ninja. He then used his powers to defend himself against Iceman powers, and after a while, he is able to break open the cocoon, which in guess it stops Iceman powers from going crazy, so he can take Iceman to his home to help Iceman heal from his injuries from his last battle. This is the moment we learn about Chen Zi's past, because when you have Bobby Drake and Chen Zi go back to the home of Chen Zi, you have Chen Zi actually explain what happened there. Why did he turn into that ninja? And he said for the first time in 70 years, he turned into the Faux Dog. Faux Dog was this guardian that used to protect a royal place. Now, the town they're in right now used to be that royalty place, but after a while, it just fell apart. And so with that happening, Chen Zi was unable to turn into Faux Dog, but back then he was Faux Dog who protect the city against demons. That was a long time ago, and his powers are tied into, of course, magic. But after explaining all of that to Bobby Drake, he now wants to know, why are you here in Hong Kong for, Bobby Drake? Now, there is a quick page that shows us that Opal is really not a bad guy. That really, she has been forced into this because Alan Weiss was the one that forced her into do all of this. And so she's kind of hoping that all of this works out with, one, her son getting better, but two, nothing really happening to Bobby Drake. But of course, we know that is not going to happen exactly. But we do jump back over to Iceman and Faux Dog. Yes, Chen Zi's name is Faux Dog, and so for the rest of the video, I'm going to call him Faux Dog. But with Faux Dog and Bobby Drake, Iceman, of course, we see them get attacked by Augmen, more Augmen. Now remember, we have no idea what is the origin of these Augmen just yet. We're going to learn that in the next chapter here in a minute, but you have Faux Dog and Iceman working together to fight against the enemies, which of course is the Augmen throughout this town. And this goes on for a few amount of pages, but it's to show that Iceman is still able to be a great fighter, but now he has an ally, and that will be Faux Dog for the rest of this storyline. But once they're able to defeat all of the Augmen, that is when we come to find out that Bobby Drake already told Faux Dog about why he's here in Hong Kong, which of course is trying to save his son that he just learned about. And so you have Faux Dog tell Iceman that their next stop is to go and save his son. Now, this is the moment where you have Winterbrand show how powerful they are by doing a few things, starting off by sending their Augmen out there to shut the power down to Hong Kong. Now, the reason why they did that is to, for one, hopefully capture Bobby Drake, but also corner him. That with the power going out, there's nowhere else he could really hide at. But on top of that, we kind of find out that they have a way to track Iceman. And so even though the power is out and he could still try to hide, they know where to look for him because they're able to track him when he does use his powers. And so right now, it's kind of a lot of things going up against Bobby Drake at the moment. Now, this is the moment we learn about the ability of Shadow Door. And this is an ability that Faux Dog uses. Now, the way it works is Faux Dog is able to walk through one wall in one part of a town and use that as a way as a door to walk through a different wall in a different part of town. Now, there is a catch to that. The catch is that for Faux Dog to use the Shadow Door ability, he had to be at a location that he has seen before. Meaning that if he has never been to London, he can't use Shadow Door to teleport himself to London. Now, there is another catch for him. Now, you can technically use Shadow Door, or he can, sorry, if a symbol of his was painted on a wall or is put near a wall. So as long as his symbol is near a wall, then technically he can use Shadow Door to go to a location that he has never been to before. And we actually continue to see Faux Dog using that shadow door ability as a way to travel fast enough across town to hopefully get to their location. In the next section, we see him doing it, but because he's using it, he does run into more Augmen. And so that does lead into Iceman and Faux Dog fighting against more Augmen characters. And those fights really don't last that long. It's really more of just saying, hey, we need some more action scenes in this book. But of course, Iceman and Faux Dog are able to defeat the Augmen and continue on to their destination, which is the apartment of Opal, the one person that really put Bobby Drake in this problem in the first place. And so this is the moment where you have Opal explain to Bobby Drake, who snuck into her apartment thanks to using the shadow door ability from Faux Dog. But you have her explain that Alan Wiz, who works for Winterbrand, is chasing Iceman down for his big project to help humans not fall behind in the process of evolution, because at this point mutants are looked at as the next step in evolution. But it's him saying humans are being left behind. And so what he has been doing is kidnapping mutants, taking their powers away and grafting them on regular human beings to give those regular human beings their own set of powers. Here comes the downside of that though. The mutants die after going through that process, but also adult humans cannot survive the process. Only children can. And so the Augmen that have been chasing Bobby Drake and Faux Dog across town are human children that have been grafted with mutant powers on them and being forced to fight for Alan Wiz. On top of that, you have Opal tell us that there's a conductor on the back of their system, and the problem is the conductor overheats. Iceman powers would be the perfect power to keep that conductor cool enough so the Augmen won't die. Another reason why they're chasing down Iceman 4, to take his powers away, but use his powers as a way to make sure the Augmen never die. And of course, that makes Iceman very angry. But you then have Iceman and Faux Dog continue on with their plan to go save the child of Bobby Drake and Opal. But while they're going through the whole process, you actually have Iceman fight against the Augmen on his own. Now, there is a good reason why he did this for, because while he is fighting against the Augmen and he is actually losing against them, it's all for a good reason that leads into the final chapter of this run, because at the end of this issue, the Augmen are actually able to capture Iceman to bring him in. And we learn why here in the next chapter. And so the opening pages of the 4th chapter is actually where you have the Augmen bring back Bobby Drake to Winterbrand so that Alan Wiz can begin the process to finishing his project. Now, this is the moment where you do have Alan Wiz repeat everything we already learned in the last chapter, so we can skip that part, but there is something new about these opening pages, which is that Alan Wiz did implanted the same process into him, the same one he is trying to finish. But you have to remember that Opal told us in the last chapter that adults were not able to go through the process, the mutant grafting process. Only children can. And so this is Alan Wiz hoping that he will be the first successful adult to go through this whole process. But of course, they still need Bobby Drake to keep the conductor cool enough so that the Augmen won't die. And with Bobby Drake being captured and now about to be tested on by Alan Wiz, we know this is all part of the plan that Opal, Faux Dog, and Bobby Drake made as a way to stop Winterbrand, stop Alan Wiz, and also save the son of Bobby Drake and Opal. But You have Faux Dog check up on Opal first to make sure that she is downloading every piece of information as a way to share that information to show what Winterbrand is doing to the whole world. Now, Faux Dog does use his shadow door ability as a way to sneak into the facility to save the son of Bobby Drake and Opal and take the son back to Opal. But once he does that, of course, the alarms go off, and that tells Alan Wiz and the Augman and Winterbrand something is going on. And so this is the moment where you have Iceman reveal that he has some plan up his sleeve the whole time. Now, we knew that, of course, the way the story was going, but now Wiz, Winterbrand, and the Augmen all know that Iceman has some plan up his sleeve. And so it does begin the process of a big battle between the two sides. Faux Dog actually does come back to help out, but you do have Iceman remind Faux Dog that the Augmen are actually just children being forced by Dr. Wiz to do his bidding. But with all of that happening, it does actually lead into a moment where we see Dr. Wiz get some kind of powers, because you have to remember he told us at the beginning of this chapter that he was hoping to become the first successful adult to go through the whole mutant grafting process. And you have Dr. Wiz return back as this fiery monster as a way to be the opposite to Iceman, because Iceman has, of course, ice powers. And so you have the two of them fight against each other. But here's the thing though. In the past, multiple times in Marvel Comics, it has been told to us that we have no idea what is the limit to Iceman's powers. We have no idea. He is an Omega level mutant. He might not have a limit to his powers, except for Dr. Wiz going through this whole mutant grafting process. Well, he has a limit. And so while he thinks because he has firepower and he is able to burn the ice away that Iceman is throwing, after 2 pages, Iceman shows him, hey man, I don't have a limit. And he is able to overcome Dr. Wiz and actually kill him. And so we never see Dr. Wiz ever again. Now, the way this book ends, honestly, I hate it so much because the story was already going crazy. The artwork was already crazy. But the way this story ends is even crazier, because this is the moment where you have Bobby Drake thinking that he was actually going to stay here in Hong Kong with Opal to raise his son. Except he comes to find out, thanks to a video that was left behind by Opal to tell him, hey, this kid was never yours. Alan Wiz used my child as a way to bring you here because he knew about our past connections. He knew it would bring you here so that he could use you to complete his project. This child never belonged to you. This child belonged to a man back in Europe that she met after she left Bobby Drake. And so we got a whole storyline that kind of teased the idea that maybe Iceman might become a father, which would have been huge, but of course, it did not happen. But this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please hit that like button down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But I'll see y'all next time. Later.